At this point, we're pretty well into Beyond Light, and the metagame is starting to define itself. I mean, sure, we have yet to get trials because of a few unfortunate delays, which will solidify the meta, but at this point we can see which weapons are being the most commonly used, have the best benefits going for them, and the choices of some top players, and typically right now, that seems to be 120 RPM aggressive hand cannons, of course the 140 RPM adaptive hand cannons, as well as the high impact pulses. But I don't see a lot of people talking about scout rifles, and maybe reasonably so. They're not exactly meta weapons, but I do think since the aim assist buff was applied to it, the Mida Multi-Tool is a very competitive weapon. I'm not sure that it'll be defined as meta since the 120 RPMs have such good range, and as a result on some maps can comfortably challenge some scout rifle like ranges. However, I'm pretty comfortable in saying that as much as Mida might not be a meta defining weapon, I think it's at the very top of the best off meta picks because of its newfound consistency from that aim assist buff, as well as the omission now of 150 RPM hand cannons and a lot of versatility that it provides. So in the past, before the Beyond Light update and the buff to scout rifles, I remember using Mida Multi-Tool pretty frequently and quite literally feeling like I cannot accurately shoot straight. Since then, because of the aim assist buff, I do find it to be a lot more consistent. The flinch at times is still unbearable, but if you hold down on your right stick, if you're playing controller enough, or of course are dragging down pretty drastically on your mouse, in either case, regardless of the input, just dragging your crosshairs down probably a lot more than you think you should be, you will most likely continue to shoot straight, even if it looks like you're getting flinched quite a bit. In my experience, shots continue to connect, and even resulting in headshots, which is really great. And out of all the scout rifles, because Mida has a 100 aim assist stat, so the maximum aim assist stat on a scout rifle, it is getting the most and best of the aim assist buff. A lot of people on my stream when I'm using Mida ask me if it got any sort of benefit from the aim assist buff, and yes, of course, like I just said, it gets the most benefit. The reason being for this, and the best way I understand it and can explain it, is because the aim assist stat on a weapon is just a scalar for what is already set parameters. For the loosest possible example I can give, just for a basic understanding of this, 0 could be something like 5 degrees and 100 could be 15. In this update, they mentioned that each point of the aim assist stat is going to be worth more, and on the top end, it's going to be ultimately a 15% wider aim assist cone, which is what the aim assist stat is responsible for. So again, as Mida does have a 100 aim assist stat, that means it is getting the maximum benefit from that aim assist buff, getting that full 15% wider aim assist cone. And like I said, even in some gunfights where it might seem like you're getting flinched everywhere, if you're dragging down and compensating for that flinch or recoil, you will probably just continue to get headshots, and that newfound consistency is a result of the aim assist buff. So this is great. It's given Mida a lot more competitiveness. Not to mention that it gives you a lot more consistency in getting your optimal time to kill the majority of the time. Mida requires 3 critical hits and 1 body shot for a pretty competitive time to kill of 0.9 seconds. And since the buff, even on close range maps, I am relatively confident in being able to do that. I think this is a good segue to talk about Mida's versatility and how it separates itself from nearly every other scout rifle. Mida's aim assist level, that's not quite at the level of hand cannons, but is still competitive and in that realm, is what lends to a lot of its versatility. It allows you to use it, a scout rifle built for long range, on even close range maps and still be decently competitive. Early on in the season when leveling in comp, me and Cammy actually pulled out 3 Midas on Anomaly against a pretty decent team and actually managed to win. So yeah, it can still function pretty decently well even on those close range maps, and I still use it on those. Aside from the aim assist, we all know that Mida has a very high handling stat. It is incredibly snappy, incredibly quick. Its reload is incredibly quick. Nearly everything about the weapon is fast. And of course that gives it a lot of versatility. It's not like other scouts that have lower handling perhaps and require you to kind of sit in lane somewhere. And when I mention everything is fast about the Mida Multi-Tool, I mean everything, including its sprint speed, which just using it gives you a 10% bonus. And for reference, compared to lightweight weapons or even other sprint speed bonuses, those are all 6.25% bonuses. The Mida is nearly double that. And if you want to go faster than that with Mida, you can. You can stack its sprint speed bonus with another sprint speed bonus, which will give you a 12.5% bonus to sprint speed. And of course, Mida gives you the lightweight bonus inherently, increasing your mobility and giving you faster strafe speed. And this movement speed allows you to play cover incredibly effectively. It allows you to move around the map fast and fluidly to take different angles, or you can even use this movement speed to capitalize on putting pressure on players and push aggression when appropriate. Mida's hand cannon-like aim assist, combined with its rapid and responsive handling, as well as its fast movement speed bonus, is all of what makes it as incredibly versatile as it is, and fundamentally, it's nearly everything you'd want in a weapon. And as a result, this, I believe, can compete with hand cannons. It has that same degree of versatility, if not more. I didn't even count the fact that as a scout rifle, you can challenge from anywhere. It's all just about finding the angle. The downside of this weapon against hand cannons though, and why many people still do like hand cannons, is two things. Of course, it's the zoom, which I'll get into in a moment, but it's also its damage per shot. Now, as much as this fire rate is great, it's very forgiving and it's quite quick, it still doesn't have as high damage per shot as a hand cannon, which against a player that's playing their cover very effectively might struggle a bit, especially against something like the 120 RPM hand cannons that deal just so much damage per shot. But as much as that is a noticeable cost, I think it's worth the trade-off for, again, the degree of versatility this weapon gives you to essentially always be present in your teammates' gunfights from an angle and be able to play accordingly to your teammates. It's such a great support weapon. As far as the zoom has a multiplicative effect on the aim assist and accuracy cone, and what this essentially means is it's taking those and stretching them and making them far longer distance. However, because of that, it takes longer to get to the widest point of your aim assist cone, the place where your weapon's the most forgiving. So it does struggle a bit. You have to be a little bit more exact than other weapons like hand cannons in closer range. But again, since it does have lower recoil than a hand cannon per se, and because of the aim assist buff, I don't think it's that bad now. I know I mentioned that Mida is a great support weapon, but I don't think it's a slouch in one-on-ones either. The removal of the 150 RPM hand cannons did a lot of great for this weapon, because those really stepped all over Mida. They got all the inherent benefits and versatility of a hand cannon and high damage of a hand cannon, while having a forgiving rate of fire, a great and faster time to kill than the Mida of 0.8 seconds, and the lightweight bonus. With no more lightweight hand cannons, the Mida Multi-Tool is the most versatile and comparable thing to a hand cannon you're gonna get now that has lightweight. And that extra mobility is really important for min-maxing our builds, especially for hunters that need that mobility while investing in other stats for their dodge cooldown. Also, because our standard time to kill between the 140 RPM hand cannons and the 120 RPM hand cannons is now 0.87 seconds to 1 second, this gives Mida a very competitive time to kill without 150s existing, giving it a 0.9 second with 3 crit 1 body. That's perfectly reasonable and very, very competitive with the other two hand cannon archetypes. And between its now competitive time to kill and its great movement speed, this makes it a great dueling weapon as well. So to recap, although Mida doesn't deal as much damage per shot as hand cannons and does have higher zoom, which people might not prefer, it does have an undeniable degree of versatility and speed to it, and a very competitive time to kill that solidifies it as potentially the best off-meta pick this season. And as a scout rifle, it's the one that separates itself from the rest as being able to hang with the hand cannons in the most aggressive of scenarios even. So those are my takes on Mida, and it's currently a weapon that I'm maining. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you haven't already, I'd appreciate a sub, as I am working towards 100k. I do appreciate it. And if you want to check me out on Twitch, you can. Links in the description, twitch.tv/Drewskys. Stop by if you want to join us in clowning around or communing with the cones. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.